All right, hey, we're live on the YouTube, and we're talking about like how do we get AI to actually sound like us, right? With like our unique perspective, because you want to be an apple among oranges, and so you've been engaging on some posts, and you've been there's some posts that we want to engage with. And so, there's lots of people out there that, probably use AI to just create content. Um, but one of the things that we've discovered, the only way that it actually gets clients that, pay and that like jive with you is like if it sounds like you and it's your perspective. Like it's not, because what I found is AI defaults to generic, low quality Reddit advice. And that's why it's called AI slop. But how do we make sure that it's your voice, which, that's what we build. That's referrals while you sleep. We actually use your voice. And so this is new. We're just doing this off the cuff. And so we'll, if you want to share your screen, you should be able to share your screen with like some of the posts. I know we posted in the coaching jungle and we had comments. I thought we could answer those, have a conversation together, and just kind of see what all we find and can talk about.
Right. Okay, I'm now sharing my screen, and I'd like to look into the comments into one of our posts, the visibility problem most businesses ignore. So this post focuses on what we call the silence tax, wherein people, um, people basically get tired of having to consistently rebuild their presence over and over again because most of the time it's based on motivation and not with an infrastructure, and so it feels a little inconsistent for some people, like for Stephanie Chong, who says she took a break from showing up online for a while and came back with more clarity, less fear, more direction, but also came back to having to rebuild visibility from scratch, and that part proved your point completely. So she understands, right? She's been present before. She tried to show up online, created content, and she disappeared for a while. And now she feels like she has to regain the audience that she's already built for some time. Now, the audience doesn't wait. I'm just focused on showing up consistently. She's not trying to pressure herself. So she says no big expectations because she understands that eventually she might not be able to commit to posting daily again. Just building feels more sustainable this time. So
Yeah,
as the creator
man,
of as the creator, yeah, go ahead.
there's so much there. Yeah, you can leave that up. I'd like to
Okay,
see
okay.
that. Like there's
Mm,
so much there. So one, there is this thing. What I say is we really solve digital amnesia. I've never heard it called that before, but like I
digital
actually had a
media.
client. Um,
Mhm.
I had a client that it was a past client, did consulting work for, and they moved away, so I didn't see him as much. But like,
Mhm.
I did more than most businesses. I sent them like a 4-page newsletter once a month, like physically to their
Yeah.
house. I sent them a postcard once a month,
Yeah.
and it was a good postcard. It's not junk. I saw them from
Mhm.
time to time, but they needed some more work done, and they called another competitor consultant of mine, and like I was friends with this guy, and I,
The betrayal.
I yeah, like it's a stab in the heart, right? Like there's,
The
I want to rip
postcard
his
felt
face off and rip
heartfelt.
my eyes out. Like I'm so like this is my livelihood, and we're friends.
Yeah.
We're friends,
Yeah. And
and
what I get you saying is you weren't the top of mind when this friend of yours has finally decided that he wants to move forward with a consultation, like you said. Did I hear
yeah,
that right?
yeah, and like So this was around 2018. Um, and it's 2026 now. Maybe 2019. It was somewhere around there. It's one of the reasons I built Referrals While You Sleep. Because like I'm a good enough friend. Like I actually called this guy
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, I'm curious, why did you choose this other consultant? And he said two things. He said,
Mm-hmm.
one, as you know, I've moved and so I'm around this other guy more. He was around that guy like once or twice a week
Mm.
because they went to church together.
Right.
He'd moved and he goes there. And then the other thing, he said, you know what? Like, I know a bunch of consultants. I thought you were all the same and I should spread it around. And I was like, that's my fault. And remember, like,
Yeah.
I'm actually doing follow-up marketing with this guy. Like the newsletter was good. Like I've got lots of clients that have called me years later and say every month, like literally, like honestly, every year I get a few clients that say, I read your newsletter every month. I look forward to it. So like it works for a lot of people, but not everybody. And like I was sending the postcard, and the postcard, again, it's not slop. Like I'm a good market. I know how to market. Like it's good, you know? And it brings some clients, but this guy, he had digital amnesia, you know? And so
it's like you set him up for your friend. You warmed him up for the other consultant, and ultimately he thought you consultants are all the same, so he decided to go with another guy, thinking that he can provide the same thing as you did for him.
yeah. And so like the two things that I really I took responsibility. All right, one, how am I more top of mind than anyone else, no matter where they live, like whether they live close to me or not, in a cool way. And number two, how's it in a way where I'm an apple among oranges, where I'm differentiated, where they know Charlie is the only person that I will call. Like that was it. And like that's two of the principles of Referrals While You Sleep. It's why we do the targeting and retargeting, which we should talk to here in a minute. It's why it works. It works even when you take a break. And it's why it's all based off of, my favorite books are The Like Switch by Jack Schaefer. In his background, he was an FBI agent. I don't know if me and you have ever talked about this. Great book.
No, yeah.
He was an FBI agent.
How do you make people to like you, basically?
And not just like you, but he was an FBI agent that worked for America, would go to other countries and get people in other countries to turn against their country and help him. So that's more than like. That's like
that's more than
that's and there's four. It is, and there's four things. One is proximity. One is duration. So proximity, how close are you? That's why we show up everywhere that they are. That's why we geofence them. Duration. That's the reason we have long form conversations like this, so they can binge watch you, which also aligns with the 7-11-4 principle. The third is intensity. So, like how close are you?
You gotta be close. You gotta be close.
And which is why, we have calls like this. So here's one of the cool magic things is if someone's watching this right now and me and you are having this conversation, they feel close to us. Like it's not the same as being, in the same room with us, but it kind of is pretty close. It's better, it's closer than just being on a phone, right?
That's right. It somehow it mimics something in our brain to make us feel like these people can be trusted because they have been, around us already. And I think proximity does not necessarily mean being physically close to someone, right? You can engineer proximity in social media, even through online. Is that right?
Yeah.
By appearing, wherever they look in social media. That's right.
And then the last one is frequency, right? Which is why we want it to be at least once every 3 days. Because the problem with, and my friend's Nolan, I'm grateful for him because he, that was a moment that I was like, all right, I'm not going to have that happen again. Because he also got a very bad result from the other consultant. Like I saw the way that it worked out, and I'm really good at what I do. And it was my fault that I wasn't marketing good enough. He got a poor result because I was busy doing other stuff.
So I'm imagining it with him leading on the kind of the promises that you were supposed to deliver, and he was expecting it from the other guy, but it just didn't happen for him. Um, Now I want to ask you, Charlie. I'm curious. I'm curious. So you did mention the four pillars of the like switch. Uh, before the referrals while you sleep platform, how did people usually do it? What was their approach to it? What was their infrastructure to be proximate to people, to have long durations of um, engagement intervals and frequencies? Oh, did we mention intervals? I think just duration, frequency, and intensity, I should say. How did people usually achieve that before?
What's cool is this, if you go back to the end of time, how do you do it? One of the fascinating things, let's go back in the old town square. You're in a small town. The people that made the most business usually, that made the most business for a long time, that had a business that lasts, they were out at the town square every weekend. You wanted to be in the town square. That's your place was on the corner. That's why Apple stores are in popular places. Yeah, you were just seen everywhere. You were physically there. And then what happened? Then you've got, and it's funny, the way marketing has gone to branding. Because then you move to brand advertising. Like Coca-Cola, Mac, Ford. For small businesses, brand advertising got a really bad rap because it wasn't affordable, right? It'd be amazing, it's great. You watch the movie E.T. and he drinks a Coca-Cola. You're just everywhere where the person is. So you took that kind of town square idea, but now you blasted it to the whole world or the whole country. The problem is it's really, really expensive, right? And if you spend $1, you need to make $1.
I remember what they used to do was what people do in branding, I think, is to kind of anthropomorphize the brand, make it more, give it more human qualities, right? Make it more personable, so that instead of a person, instead of the founder, there's the brand that represents the founder, and it's that brand creating the presence of the business everywhere. So that's what they try to do. But I understand, it is a whole package when you speak about branding. It's not just the colors, the logo. It also entails the voice, the quirks, right? The personality and the perspective of the brand.
Yeah. And so, do you know about Geico Insurance? Have you ever heard of the Geico lizard, the green lizard, Geico Insurance? You probably haven't, or have you?
I know they have watches.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So there's an insurance brand in America that's super popular, and their brand is a talking cartoon lizard. And if anyone's watching this, their brand is say 15% or more on your insurance in 15 minutes, something like that. And all of their advertisements are just fun and silly, and then they just say that tagline at the end. But they're on TV, they're on radio, they spend so much money. One of my very first clients, that's still client Paul, when we were developing referrals while you sleep, he's like, oh my gosh, this is Geico lizard branding without the Geico budget. Which gets to because what we do, so I'm not going to go there yet. Remind me later, because she
Yeah.
said she gets tired of posting and she was invisible. But all that to say, we solved digital amnesia. And so what people used to do, they'd hire an agency, or they'd run direct response ads with no follow up, or they would hire salespeople. If you hire outside salespeople, you're basically hiring them to get you top of mind to the right people, right?
Right. That's the purpose. And yeah, it's exciting that we can achieve those now without having to spend a fortune to do it. Right.
Yeah.
What's different this time? I just
So
want the listeners to have a brief intro, and maybe that is a good idea for another session. Maybe we can walk through the platform and what it does. But yeah, basically, I just want to ask for now, what is different? How can others do differently when it comes to staying top of mind?
so the first thing that me and you, we don't even talk about a lot, but like my clients have been with me for 4 or 5 years. They say, I will never leave you for this one reason. And I'm showing my phone right here, because what I built is I built software that syncs with your Google contacts and your iPhone contacts and your LinkedIn contacts and your Facebook contacts.
They're basically people who already might know you.
Yeah.
As contacts.
And the coolest thing, this is the coolest. This is the one that I invented. Like there's others out there, but it syncs with everyone in your phone, because most business people are great at calling, texting, and emailing, but are not good at data entry. I'm not. I am not good at data entry. So of course, like you can sync with the CRM, but it syncs with your phone. So everyone you meet at the coffee shop, at the restaurant, at the gym, at church, everyone you meet, everyone that's in your CRM, they're not going to see you forever on autopilot. And so we do the Geico type branding, but only to people that are in your world. And so it's probably going to be a list of 5,000, 10,000, like it's not going to be a giant list for most people. Like this is not cold. This is warm. Any other lead gen that you do, like if you get a lead, how are you following up with them now? Probably not well, and like the science of the like switch says duration, intensity, proximity, and I always forget the last, frequency. Like
frequency, yeah.
Like you're taught to hound them, but we know statistically, like if you get a 3% buy rate, like you're doing, like it's unbelievable. Usually you're looking for a 3. Yeah, you're looking for a 3% opt-in rate usually. So let's say best case 3% of people are going to buy right now, but statistically in a lot of places 50% of your leads are going to buy in the next 24 months. But your follow-up sucks. Because follow-up's hard.
Yeah.
Because your follow-up is, hey, you ready yet? Hey, you ready yet? Hey, you ready yet? Yeah. Like you're turning.
Not to mention the tracking. Yeah. Not to mention the tracking of how many times you've touched base with a person already. And most people do it with the CRM to kind of track that.
Yeah. And so imagine
with 1,000 people, it's just hard to do.
Yeah. Right. And do well. Right. And so with this, like now it's on autopilot, geo targets everyone that everyone that's, visited your website or pages. So when someone comes into your world, they're going to see you at least for the next year, maybe forever, depending on like where we got them. And so it builds the like switch. It builds the 7-Eleven 4. And what ends up happening is, I had a client hop on a call the other day. I was ready to do my presentation, and she said, all right, how do I give you money? I'm ready to sign up. Because so my goal for you, my goal for me and my clients is I don't talk to someone in person until 1, they know who I am, 2, they know what I do, and 3, they're 99% sure they want to hire me no matter what I charge. And that sounds impossible unless you've got something like this. So that's the coolest thing. Like, you can relax knowing, and the person said, I took time off. Here's the reality of business,
Yeah.
of the world, of life. There's seasons. And so one of the reasons I built Referrals While You Sleep is I know this worked, but how was I going to do it consistently? What I would do is I'd do it for a little bit, and then I'd get busy and stop. And then I'd do it for a little bit, and I'd get busy and stop. And, go on vacation, it would stop. I'd try to hire someone. They'd get hired away. So I'd train them on how to do it. They do it poorly. I'd tell them to do it better, go back and forth. It's taking them 8 hours when it should take 2, and then they leave, then they get sick, and so it was just like, we know what works.
Inconsistent.
Just how are you going to do it consistently?
And to manage it, because I do agree. I think when people realize that they have to be on social media, they try to brute force their way in by doing it every day by themselves, and then eventually they realize that this is not a sustainable thing to do every day, especially as a small business owner, having to create content. And then that's right when you said that it's hard to take vacations, it's hard to just be off work when you have to show up consistent, but we know as business owners that it's crucial to maintain that. It's something that we have to do to convert the leads that we have into actual sales, or to just be on top of mind.
Yeah. And so the way that this works is we build that list of everyone that's in your world. We geo-fence them, and we take the content that we build together in our content jam, which is just like this.
Right.
And, we're not going to go through kind of the 5 steps that make content that brings pre-sold clients, but, you use that system. If you get our book talks through, what you need, the 5 P's and the 3 I's. But I'm getting distracted because I love talking about this, because it's changed my life. Like, I went from a workaholic to, like, I spend time, I'm in the best shape of my life. I spend time with my kids. We go to Puerto Rico most years, or Costa Rica for a whole month. We do jujitsu together. Like, I've got the best life in the world because I know I'm getting pre-sale clients.
Yeah, you're getting good leads. That's right. You're getting good leads.
Yeah.
So in effect, that allowed you to really spend your time well, instead of chasing cold calls and cold leads that doesn't convert, right? Now the people that get into your space has the potential to buy from you in the next 2 years.
Right.
And you just have to consistently show up for them.
And, I'm not chasing them because they see me in a way based on the like switch. Right.
It's like a magnet.
It is. And it's not just social media. It's also a website. So, if they, you go on other websites, like a sports website or the local town website, they see me there as well, in a very specific way. And how this works is it's not just reliant on posting. Like, with your content, like, we post it, we repost it. We know if you can repost every 90 days and people don't remember it. We set up our content jams. So, like, in 90 minutes a week, and you've been on them, you could share about that. Like, creating content that's unique and that's you is, like, super simple now, right?
That's right. I can talk about it. And so I was going to ask that. I was going to ask you about, showing up consistently, but it does happen. Like, we don't notice it, but some of our ads has been played to us over and over, but it's not like we remember them distinctively, right? So one of the questions that might arise is, how do you show up consistently while also making an impact? And I think that's a good opportunity to talk about.
That's a good question.
Content gems, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd love for us to be able to discuss the duo video system and why that works very naturally for people.
Yeah. So one of my insights was, I tried for so long to turn on my camera and create content. And like, I'm someone that doesn't fail at stuff, you know? And so I would do it not consistently. Like, it's painful, you know, it'd take hours to come up with the idea. And then like, how many takes would it take to have this? Like, it's not, and like, I know it's not authentic. You know, it's not authentic. Like, it's not an easy skill to be able to have a monologue like that, you know, like if you get that skill, it's very worthwhile. I had a friend, she spent $24,000 one year of coaching to become really good at it. And she got really good at it, but it also, she spent 24 grand that year. That's a lot of money. And she was spending 18 hours a week creating content. Like, not even her other job. And she's like, Charlie, I just can't do it anymore. I was like, and what's cool.
So even if she got good at it, it's still hard to pull it off, right? It's still hard to.
It's still a full-time job, right?
No, it's still a full-time job.
Yeah.
The setting up the cameras, the retakes, right? The edit that it has to take as well, because you have to omit the boring parts in a video, especially in this day and age where people are so accustomed to shorts and reels. They'd like for them to jump on a video and just get the meat out of the content right away. And so I understand how it can take 18 hours if you are to produce content every day.
And she had a team that was actually doing a lot of the edits. You know, like she wasn't just a solo, you know. But to create, you know, like, how do you make it authentic? All that. So, you know, I paid someone, and this was worthwhile. Like, I made money from it. I paid someone $6,000, and they would meet with me every other week, like this. And they had an employee that would sit with me and ask me questions, and I would talk for a few minutes, and then they would edit it. It was worthwhile, but I was getting like a 3 to 5 minute little video from it, right? And I mean, the guy was there for 30 minutes. He didn't know what I did. He didn't run a business. Like, you know, he was ready to clock in, clock out, then go home. It was cool. He did jujitsu, so we talked about jujitsu a lot. But like, I mean, he wasn't a business owner. He didn't really know. And then he quit, and I had, you know, they gave me someone else. And so like, that's one way to do it. Right.
One other way that people do it now is they pay for an AI basically of themselves, like an avatar where it talks like them. I don't know if it sounds like them, but it just kind of imitates how they look like and speak on their behalf, because they want to create content like that, but they just don't have the time the skill to do so. So people are getting creative. But I'm curious, what other ways can we achieve that without having to spend a fortune to be able to achieve that?
And by the way, like, I love the AI tools that let you create your avatars. What I found too, the more authentic content you have of you actually talking, the more, as AI gets smarter, the more that it's actually your voice. Like, you know, if you don't, the more context it has of your unique, like, so one of my favorite, so the secret to content that creates pre-sold clients is, of course, you got to have perspective. You got to be unique. You know, I always say an apple among oranges. One of my favorite descriptions is, there's something called like the 34-word course. But it says, you know, one of the things is like, you've got to like throw rocks at your enemies. You got to create an enemy. You've got to like have a very unique perspective. And
here's something else. Create chaos.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, so what do I believe? I've discovered that a business owner can have a conversation and there's depth and connection very powerfully one-on-one with people whenever they need.
Right.
If it's at the grocery store, if it's in a sales call, if it's in a conversation like this, like, we can talk with other business owners about what we do, about our best clients, about, like, we can talk to someone else. Like, we're built for connection. And when me and you have this conversation, someone else is more likely to watch it, enjoy it, because the questions you ask me, they ask themselves. So it builds that influence, and they can eavesdrop. You know, that's why reality TV works. So that's what so the way we've done it is in our community, and someone can come join, come join us. It's called a content jam. And what we do is we bring business owners together. And it's like showing up to, my wife does this group coaching called Orange Theory. It's group coaching. And my wife has competed in fitness contests. Like, she knows what she's doing. She's built her own diets. But she loves Orange Theory coaching because she signs up, she shows up, she doesn't have to worry about nothing. She just does what she's told. And at the end of the hour and a half, she's had a great workout. So it doesn't matter what else is happening in life. She just does this and it's done. Content Jam's the same. You show up, we guide you, and at the end of it, you have amazing content that creates clients because we pair you with another business, and it's very structured, and you create content. Now you can, go huh?
Sorry, yeah, that sounds like the easiest setup. All they have to do is to show up and converse as naturally as they can, and they don't have to prepare for a script. They can just talk about the thing that they already know the most, and then the content can be. So I like that in the sense that it is a recorded conversation that can be used as content, right? Like
Yeah.
it is as authentic as it can be.
That's one of the pieces of content. One of the things of the 5 steps that make it work. But the number one, like, if you want to use AI to help create posts, if you want pre-sold clients, that means they've got to believe what you believe. They've got to like you. They've got to like your way. They know who you are. They know what you do, and they want to do it your way. And they're 99% sure they want to do it your way, no matter the cost. Well, the only way that happens is if they know what your way is, if they know what your voice is.
Right.
And if you use generic AI slop, they got to hear it from you. If you use generic AI slop, they're not going to hear it from you when they show up in the call. They're like, this isn't what I was wanting. And so we give your partner the questions to ask you, so you don't even have to come up with anything. So there's other ways to do this, right? Like, you can host your own podcast. One of my favorite podcast coaches named Adam. And one of the secrets he's found to have a successful podcast that creates pre-sold clients, because that's what we want. We want high quality leads, not a bunch of crappy ones, is 3 out of 4 pieces of your content needs to be a solo episode, or an episode where you teach your voice, your opinion. You teach on something you do. So the problem that most people have when they run a podcast is they're always interviewing the other person as the authority. They're sending their whole audience to buy from the other person.
You're right. That's what they're better at doing.
Right. Which is why they don't make money, because they're literally saying, hey, this person's an expert in X. This person's an expert in Y. They're making them look good versus sharing their unique opinion, their process. So like 3 out of 4 of your pieces of content needs to be your voice, your view, your case studies. And what's cool about the Content Jam, it's actually the best of both worlds. You actually end with an authority piece every week, which is pretty awesome.
That's really interesting. Authority piece, having to getting them to hear from you, and you discussing your unique perspective into things. I really love that. And you know what they say, you can't be agreeable to everything. You gotta have your own perspective on things. And I think the Content Jam is a good avenue to it. Basically, what makes it different than a podcast, would you say? Don't you have more freedom in a podcast?
So I mean,
the
podcast, like, to run a podcast, it works. It's kind of like my friend that spent 18 hours a week. It's usually a lot of work, or you're paying someone for a lot of help, right?
Right.
The correct way to do it is 3 out of 4 episodes are you sharing your unique perspective. One of the problems that even those people that have successful podcasts run into is Now you've got to be able to take that content and turn it into the follow-up, and you've got to solve the digital amnesia. If you've got one podcast a week, that means they listen to you 15, 30 minutes a week. Maybe you've got an email newsletter, so they hear from you twice a week, but they're bombarded with hundreds at least of messages every day. So how are you top of mind and trusted every single day for the next 24 months? Because we know that half of your leads are going to buy sometime in the next 24 months. 3% are going to buy now. And you've done the hard part if you've done a podcast, especially if you got solo episodes. There's other ways that podcasts can work, of course. Like if your goal is to be a guest podcast, so that you grow your audience. But again, if you're going to do this, and my friend Adam taught me this, genius guy, podcast monetization. You want your own solo episodes first, so that when you go on someone else's guest podcast, you say, the way I talk about it is you need to have a conversation and you need to ask these 6 questions. If you go to my episode 232, I'll go more in depth with it. So when you go on guest podcast, you send them to
reference
3 or 4 of your best, because what you want them to do is come into your world and spend more time with you. Right?
Wow, that's a lot of
So if you're not doing that, if you've only got guest podcasts, you can't really do that with people. So you lose because what we want is we want pre-sold clients. We want people that have that relationship, proximity, duration, intensity, frequency. Like, it's not new. It's not unfounded. It's very proven. The question is, how do you do it when you're on a global scale and without a Coca-Cola budget? Well, this is how you do it. Everyone that enters your world now sees you all the time through this media. And, again, we're not relying on virality. We're advertising to this list content. And the content just lets them build time with you.
Okay. And can you summarize it for us? How do you actually do it in simple terms? How do you achieve that? So once they get into your world, into your bubble, you get their contact, right? Okay. Walk us through how you're able to achieve this.
Yeah. So step 1, you have a conversation where you talk about one aspect of your business. Again, in our book, I think we go into detail about the different things you can talk about. But just you have a conversation. I'll give you a couple options now. Talk about your favorite client. Talk about your favorite process. So you probably have different things you do for different clients. Or 3, talk about why you got into business. The pain you're solving. Right. So have a conversation with someone like that. You could actually have a conversation, recorded with one of your best clients. So 1, create content.
And then, okay.
2,
and then where do they
gather? 2, you gather all of your audience. So you get all of your audience. 3, and there's a couple steps to this. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. But what you have to do is you have to, how do I say this? You've got to have, I call it your fingerprint. Your fingerprint. You've got to have this document. We're going to use AI to make this simpler. Is what we're going to do. But you got to have a document of who you are, what you've done, what you offer, what you've done in the past, the things that that you believe that's different, like who you are, like what we're talking about here. That's number 1. Number 2, you got to have the detailed, I call it fingerprint on your audience. What are their dreams? What are their desires? What do they wake up at 3 a.m. wondering? What are their wants? What are their vision? And the more detailed, the better. Like some people just have a paragraph. I like to have pages pages of each of
Right.
those,
Right.
because you're an apple among oranges. Like, we can't be like a default Redditor, like, what makes you stand out?
Right.
So first you created the
Yeah.
content. And by the way, the content that you create, where you talk about your process, you talk about how you got into business, you talk about your favorite clients, we actually use that to create the context of you and your customers. So
Okay.
that's the reason we record this.
Yeah. All right.
Record all your conversations. So the audience, and then the next, you've got your fingerprint, your audience
fingerprint.
And then what we do is we use all that to create a bunch of different clips. Kind of like, there's lots of stuff out there that will create clips, but they're creating generic clips and they're looking for virality. What we're looking for are lead moments and authority moments. Those are the two things. Fortunes in the follow-up.
Moments.
What is an authority moment? An authority moment is something where you help your ideal client make a step forward. You trick them into thinking you're going to help them, but actually helping them. You want your content to help them make one step forward. You want them to look forward to your content. Like, I look forward to my mom's peach pie. Like, I dream about it. My mouth waters because I know it's something I enjoy. So the content is not to go viral. The content is so that your people really enjoy it. And so it takes all that information to do that.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about social media as well. Even from observing my own behavior. When I follow someone on social media, on YouTube, they usually have a specific subset of content, like a specific type of interest that's very particular. And like you said, you usually create pages and pages of audience and your own profile just to really set yourself apart. And once you find that niche, once you find like your crowd, you just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually it grows on its own, because eventually people are with the same interest. That's I think that's the algorithm working. When one person likes this and likes another thing, they probably like a third thing based on the math of the algorithm. So it's just grow. I've seen like an Instagram account where it just posts about cats. It's a daily cat video. and it's something particular, and then it just grew, even if it has the same content, because people with that particular interest and they check it out. I think, sorry, I might be rambling, but maybe a better example would be my interest in like I follow the page because I like seeing combat sports and in the streets. So it's like street fighting videos and stuff. So I go in there. It's a specific niche, and that's the reason I followed, because when I followed that person, I would get more of that specific video that I'm interested in. And so I like what you're saying when you said that you're not after virality, you're not after a bunch of people liking you. It's okay if you just get a segment in the market that just will really love your content, and that's your warm leads. Those are the people who you need to talk to. You don't need to speak different voices or speak in different ways to kind of get the people, because you know who your crowd already is, and you just have to just consistently be that authority figure there.
And your crowd is like people that are drawn to you. You like the same things. You want to draw, like, if you're in a business where you actually have to work with the people, or your team has to, you want it to be people that you and your team enjoy. And it's likely that if they enjoy the same things you enjoy, if they want you to be a full human, as a really good example, my clients love that I go to Puerto Rico or Costa Rica once a year. And they love that I travel and do jujitsu with my family. They love that my family is my most important thing. So when they call me while I'm in Puerto Rico, they usually say, "I'm sorry about calling you while you're on vacation." I'm not on vacation. I'm still working. I love what I do. Like I'm still working, but like they respect that. They appreciate that. They aren't someone that says, I don't care if you're traveling, I don't care if you're on your anniversary. I need you now. Like I push those people away through my content. Like if you're like some people
Right,
love working with people like that. Some like
right.
I've actually got a family member, love him to death, can't work with him because he wants that kind of relationship with his vendors, and I'm not interested in that.
Right.
Like I
Right,
draw
right.
people to me that like love the way that I work, the results that I give, and I don't even deal with people that are adversarial.
Yeah, and the life that they like the life you're living, right? The
Mm-hmm.
the structure you put around yourself, so that's why they want to work with you because that's the kind of person they want to work with. I like that. I like that you push people away with your content. It doesn't matter if they don't like it. You know your crowd, right? And so you just gotta have to show up for yourself and be yourself in a way through a conversation with your likes and dislikes, and your people are gonna come to you like a magnet instead of you chasing the people who you do not like working with yourself.
Right, right, exactly.
Right. Right. Okay. Content jump sounds exciting. How can we sign up? How can we participate in case?
Yeah, so if you see this, comment below Content Jam, and I'll get you the info for it. And it's yeah, that's the best way. We'll get you all the info. It's free to come visit, join, come visit us,
Bring your
experience it.
bring your
And
best client over.
yeah, yeah, some of our people, like, yeah, it's amazing. They bring people that they're wanting to build a relationship with. They bring their best
Mhm.
clients, or they just show up, right? Like just show up the first time. It's fun. If you're nervous, bring a friend. But it's super simple. We don't bite. We can't. It's all online. And if we were in person, we wouldn't bite either, right?
Right.
And
Right.
maybe some jujitsu if you're into that. My favorite thing to do. Um, so yeah, comment Content Jam. We'll get you all the info.
Right.
The results we get. I mean, I think you'll be shocked at just you'll be, oh my gosh, I've done this my whole life. Had a conversation, and
Yeah.
if you don't have consistent quality leads, it's all you think about. And the reason my life is so good is I don't have to worry about that anymore. I've got a knob where I can turn it up, turn it down, and I'll share
You're
this
worried
one
about.
story.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
One of my favorite past clients, when I ran my consulting shop, um, I'd worked with them a few years ago, and then they called me like after a couple of years, and everyone says, you got to respond right away or whatever. Well, they called an old number that
Yeah.
I didn't even know like worked anymore. Like 10 days
Yeah.
later, I saw it. And
Mm.
this is like a high intensity person. Love them. We had a great project the first time, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, like I would love
You
to
missed.
work with
You
this
missed.
person again. So I called him back, and I didn't get him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I blew it, right? Like you gotta respond in 3 minutes. I waited 10 days, right? Like I'm sure they've moved on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. What
I
happened?
told my wife, I was like, oh, you don't remember so and so? Like I think I missed it.
Mm.
And then I don't know, maybe like 3 weeks later, he called me. He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're ready to move forward. I don't know how to move forward. Like, can you help me?" And
Mhm.
when I showed up, he wasn't like this, and he wasn't like, "Why didn't you respond in 3 minutes?" Or what? He was like, "Here's my
Yeah. Yeah.
problem. I really need to get here, and I think it's absolutely impossible, and I don't know what to do." And
Mhm.
for him, like lucky for him, like he called me, and like I literally had the perfect process for him. And I said, all right, well, you're not stuck. Here's A, B, and C. And he's like, that's even
Mm.
possible. And got the job done. And it was the biggest contract of my career at that point.
Right. No. Okay.
And
Congratulations. Mm.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And like what would happen if you just knew the people that are in your world are going to call you, they're going to wait on you, they're going to be graceful, they're going to show up and say, I don't even know this is possible. Can you help? And like, well, I don't know. Let's see. Like that changes the game. It's why I've got the best life in the world. Like I could just have a conversation with you and I can serve my client socks off, like my marketing isn't marketing. My marketing is serving. Like all of this information, like if you take this information, you can do it all yourself. If you'd like help on, you want to do a content jam, come for free. If you want to know how to implement this yourself, like reach out. I'd love to see if I can help you in any way possible. Because I get to just lead with a giving hand. I get to serve. Yeah. That's what great content that creates pre-sold clients does. It shows who you are, what you do, and it draws the people that want to work with you, and it repels the ones that want to work in a different way.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about visibility anymore. You really don't have to appear before the whole world. You just have to appear before the ones who you want as a client, right?
Yeah, your world.
Yeah,
your world.
Your world.
And hey, can you pull up your page? I'd love to see if there's any other questions on there that people had asked. Because
okay,
kind of like maybe this could be like a 9-minute, like a little 10-minute lightning round, where we just pull up what other people have said.
Let's see.
Okay, I don't see your screen right now.
Oh, sorry. Have I not shared it? There you go. Okay, here's another one. Here's another one from Tahani Soliman. This is a great breakdown of highly value model, but the assumption that trust resets the moment you step away is why so many gifted leaders are trapped on a content treadmill. When you rely on mass exposure, you pay a heavy tax on your inner peace. So she's trying to make an argument that when you are to become visible to people, you'll have to sacrifice some privacy in a way because you have to appear often. The shift happens when you stop trying to be constantly visible to thousands and focus on being deeply surgically useful to the one. A single sexy step backed by true presence build kind of trust that doesn't evaporate when you turn off your screen. Precision will always collapse the need for volume. So I hear you saying that you gotta have an edge somehow. You gotta have like an upper particular angle on certain things. Can I share it again? Should I share it again?
Yeah. Just leave that open and we'll just rapid fire. So, of course, people forget about you if you're not top of mind. Like someone's not going, like no one's thinking about me. We know that 3% are going to buy now, depending on the list, 50% over the next 24 months. Like they ain't going to remember you in 13 months if you just go away. Like
right.
I don't know. I mean, unless you're doing like a 2-hour one-on-one, or you're doing like again, it goes back to light switch, proximity, duration, intensity, frequency. Like, I mean, if you spent a week one-on-one with someone, they'll probably remember that their whole life. Right. But like one piece of content, someone follows up with a lead, they forgot you before they even get the email. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And so of course there's a half-life, there's a time lapse where people forget about you. And I think it's pretty incontrovertible. Our book talks goes into all the studies. The fortune's in the follow-up. Like most people aren't going to buy right now, but they will over time if they're the right thing. So of course it's got to be you, uniquely you. Also, we're not trying to reach the masses at high volume. We're wanting to stay top of mind, preferably daily. Every 3 times a week with people only in your world, right?
Do you agree with? However, when they say when you rely on mass exposure, you pay a heavy tax on your inner peace. Do you agree with this one?
Well, if you rely on mass exposure, you probably pay a heavy tax from your pocketbook. That's the thing. Having a Coca-Cola advertising budget is expensive. Having a Geico advertising budget is expensive. I'm just a super nerd that was determined to figure out how to make it not expensive. And I mean, the heavy tax on my inner peace is not profit, right? If I'm spending a lot of money and I ain't getting clients, or I'm spending a lot of money and
Mm,
I'm getting a bunch of shitty leads that, may show up, may not show up, like the heavy tax is not working with people that know who I am, know what I do, and they're 99% sure they want to hire me before we talk. The tax is talking with people that don't know
mhm.
who I am. Like, of course, door knocking works, but that
Right.
ain't what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to serve people.
Right. Yeah. 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 You've solved a big friction in visibility, and people are starting to appreciate that. Any
And
other thoughts
like,
before we? Yeah. Good.
yeah, I mean, visibility, you got to be top of mind. That's one piece of it. It's also got to be like, we don't want to go viral. Like, it's got to make them like you, right? It's the like switch.
Right.
If people like
Right.
you, they're willing to do a lot. So yeah. So let's move to the next one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love that. It's about the power is in follow up. It's not enough to appear just once. You gotta, make them like you. That's the objective. It's not to appear, but to appear enough for people to like you with the concepts from the like switch, the four pillars. I love that. The next one, we have a one that says the silent stacks framing is good. The rest is mostly correct, but it's missing the thing that actually makes consistency compound. A point of view. Showing every day with safe, agreeable content doesn't build authority, it builds familiarity, which is not the same thing. Businesses become impossible to ignore. The businesses that become impossible to ignore aren't just consistent, they're consistently distinct. Same face, same take, same recognizable way of seeing the industry. Consistency without a contrarian edge just makes you a reliably easy to scroll past. Um,
Who am I to
so,
say that looks like an AI reply? But and I don't think that you actually said we want boring, agreeable content. Like
yeah,
we,
yeah,
we we never
yeah.
said that.
They're
And
just
so
trying to add on to
yeah,
what was already said.
yeah. I mean,
But
of course, you can't put everything in a post, but yeah, like that goes to it's Blair Warren's 34 word essay. I think like you've got to have a point of view. Like you want to be an apple among oranges. That's what I always say. Like why would someone hire you versus anyone else or do nothing at all? It's and the thing is, if you're a successful business owner, you do
mm,
things different than everyone else because you wouldn't be successful if you did what everyone else did. And you've got
right,
specific
right,
reasons to do it. Like, when I talk about my client that I didn't reach back out to for 10 days,
right,
when I
yeah.
showed
But
him my solution, like no
mm,
one else had ever done that because like I had spent time reverse engineering what I wanted my clients to have. And I actually had a client that had a terrible
wow.
experience with the same situation years ago. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm going to solve this. So, like, if you're a business owner,
Right,
you've
right.
got unique solutions. How do we pull that out of you? And that's what the content jam is for. Because we don't have to pull it out of you. If we put you with another business owner, it will fall out of you because you can talk all day.
Yeah, I think this comment might even operate in the assumption that just because you're always present and visible with your content, it doesn't mean that you don't have a point of view. Just because there's an abundance of content coming from you, it doesn't mean that it's all the same content, right? You can always, talk about different things, especially during content jams, right? You can
Right.
uh, zoom in on certain aspects of the business to really establish you as an authority figure, of course, because you you can talk about it for hours and you're not gonna run out of things to say about it.
Yeah.
So
Especially
yeah,
when it's a conversation, right?
right, especially when it's a conversation. Okay, and finally, there's one that says this is spot on, or referring to the title, I guess, the visibility problem most businesses ignore. So I think the problem exists. A lot of businesses think they have a lead problem when people just forget they exist because they disappear too often. Consistency builds familiarity, familiarity builds trust. I think this is the whole idea for which referrals via sleep was built upon. And then,
Right.
what do you think is the biggest reason people struggle to stay visible consistently? And I answered, this is coming from me, from
Yeah.
from content creation experience. It's the editing, it's the back end work. I mean, the behind the scenes work that you have to do in order to publish your content. That I think is one of the biggest reasons why it's so hard to stay consistently visible. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about my friend. She spent 24 grand in 18 hours a week. You know,
Right. Wow. What? 24.
yeah, yeah. $24,000 that year. It was 24,000 for the year, but then 18
Yeah.
hours a week.
Mm.
Like, and again, business is seasonal. So if your marketing does well, you're going to get busy. Well, how are you going to keep up with it when you're busy or when you're on vacation or, something
Mhm.
happens? What happens, if you rely on an employee? What happens if they get sick or they leave and you got to replace them? What
Mhm.
if you rely on an agency? What happens if the
Right.
person that
Right.
you're working with like leaves and they got to get you a new one? Like the people that I hired to, talk with me. If you do it
Yeah. That's
yourself,
that's
like again,
that's
what
one thing
happens?
that's
Like,
overlooked. Uh, Presence is an asset built over time, and it's just really hard to not have a good system, and endorse an agency, and then it goes away when the agency goes away. It's like you're borrowing the brand sometimes if you are to outsource it to someone else. And for sure most business owners feel like that, where by the time the agency leaves them, the branding leaves with the agency, and they're left with they gotta start from scratch again.
yeah, yeah. And so if it's you, the founder's voice, you can get it done in 90 minutes a week. With a real conversation, it's an asset that compounds. Like, I mean, 90 minutes a week and you get to follow up with everyone new. You get to meet new people. We can go into
Mhm.
another time, like the 5 things required to have content that builds authority and lead moments, that actually gets
Right.
leads,
Okay.
high quality leads, right? And I, you're still sharing your screen. I love that you've got my kids' names and ages on your notes. Like, I love that. I love that. That's why one of the reasons I love working with you. Like, you're prepared. You got it. That is so awesome. And
You can-
I love it. I
I,
should do that
I'm
more
sorry,
often.
I'm sorry, I shared
No,
it
I
right.
love it. I love it. That was so great.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, it takes a ton of time. And, your option, we've already laid out all the different options. Everything works if you do it consistently. Some works better than the others. Like, is it profitable? But, like, the number one
Mhm.
thing, like, everyone wants leads because, but what you really want is high quality leads. People that are on the
Right.
high, that I call it the quality lead index on a scale of 1 to 10 on 3 things. And of course, I've already said them a bunch of times, so you
Mhm.
know what they are. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are
Mhm.
they? How likely do they know who? Like, how do they know who you are on a scale of 1 to 10? Do they know what you do on a scale of 1 to 10?
Mhm.
How likely are they to buy from you no matter the cost on a scale of 1 to 10? And what you want people 27 and above to spend time with, because the most
Wow.
like really the most
Wow.
precious
27 mm.
thing, yeah, the most precious thing is your time.
It's a great way to prospect. Yeah, that's who you spend your time with the ones with 27 above for the three categories. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, most likely if they know you, I mean, you won't get to know a business so much if you're not interested in buying from them, right? You're
yeah,
not gonna spend so much time learning if you're not interested to have what they have one day.
yeah. And there's
Yeah.
like that's what you want. And man, so yeah, this was great. I think we covered a
Yeah.
bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do this daily. Who knows? Because this was fun.
Yeah.
And it answers questions. And we've like this works. This works.
It's good that you get to explain it. I hope I'm able to elicit more. from where I'm able to express. But I love hearing your stories and how it all came about. It the it I love that it did come from actual business experiences. I especially love it when you said that you reversed engineered what your clients wanted, so that yeah, you built that out from, this is the end goal. What can you do to kind of provide that for them? And I know for sure people are gonna want to know more. They want to know more. They want to trust the system. So if we get to, deep dive, and for them to really look out what's behind the scenes, I think they'd they'd want to have what we have. So I'm excited for
Yeah.
our next sessions. All right.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Awesome. All right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So
And
I think we're good.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
If you want the book, comment book below. We'll actually send you our book that walks you through all of this. And if you want to come to the content jam, comment content jam, and we'll get you all the info when the next one is, and get you the free pass to it. And I feel good. Adios. I'm gonna
See
hit
you all
stop.
there. See you all there. Adios.